Well, hello again. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you've watched some of my previous videos, you know that I've been talking about making some modifications on my Dell Vostro 3550. There's some reasons for that, obviously, and among them, I want to be able to use it as a daily driver, and at the same time, I want to be able to use it as my scanning platform for my obsolete A3 scanner, which still works fine, just the drivers don't work well in Windows 10 or Linux. So I need to continue to use Windows 7 on it. My daily driver, I'm using Linux now. I'm using a version of Ubuntu. And I also would like to be able to be using Windows 10 on it, so that I can be tech support for family members and those that I'm associated with at a 501c3 that are using Windows 10. I have done tech support for them. I want to continue to be able to do that. So I thought about it and I said, well, there's a couple of ways I can do this. I can either use Grub and do a multi-boot system on the internal hard drive, or I can find a way of swapping drives. Now, if you know anything about swapping drives in laptops these days, it's not as easy as it used to be, and it never was really convenient. But there'd be a way of doing it if I could put a second hard drive in it, and there's a way of doing that. You can get what's called a hard drive caddy that slides into your optical bay. See if you can see this here. Okay, a little hard drive caddy, and you take your optical drive out, put this in its place with the hard drive installed. So now you've got two hard drives in your system. But that's only two. I want three. So I found that there is a producer that's making a caddy that allows you to swap. You just push this button here, it ejects the drive, slide a new one in. So I said, okay, I'll get that, and then I can just swap my operating system in and out depending on which operating system I need at the time. And then in place of my operating system drive now, that's currently in it, I'll put a data drive. Now, those of you that are tech savvy enough will know that there's an issue here. Your optical drive connects to a SATA 2 port, whereas your hard drive connects to a SATA 3 port. SATA 3 port has a much higher throughput. Is this going to work for me? I decided in my case the convenience of being able to swap the drives this way overrides the inconvenience of a slightly slower interface speed. So for me, I decided that it would work well. Now, you go online, you look for this particular caddy, and you'll find it. It's not difficult. I'm not going to advertise the manufacturer or the device name, but you can find it. It's easy enough to find. And read some reviews. Not all of the reviews are flattering. I decided, well, I'll give it a shot. I've only lost a little bit of money if I decide I really hate it, but maybe I can live with those less than ideal things that they mention in the reviews. I get it, and I decide, well, those negative comments that were being made were a little extreme, and so take them with a grain of salt, but your mileage may vary. It may work for you, it may not. Something else to be aware of, there are different thicknesses of these. Your optical drive might be close to 13 millimeters, 12.7 to be precise, or it might be closer to 9 millimeters. You'll need to get the one that fits your bay. In my case, it's the 12.7. Now, you can look up your specs on your system and find out how thick your optical drive is, or failing that, not being able to find it, you can get a caliper like this and just measure it. And in my case, yes, it's a 12.7 or 13 millimeter thick drive. So I decided I'd do that, and then I'd be able to swap my operating system drive in and out. The outcome of it, though, when I install my operating system drive in the caddy, and the caddy in the system, and I go to boot, now it can't find my operating system. So what I have to do is go to boot options, use F12 on my system, go to boot options, and it'll give me a list of options, including booting from network, boot from hard drive. Okay, well, I'll boot from hard drive. And sure enough, now it finds it. So your system will probably vary a little bit from that, but that's what I'm doing on this. I'm swapping out the optical drive, putting in the caddy, and mounting my operating system drives in it. I have a variety of SSDs that I'm using for my operating system. I've had good luck with all of the major manufacturers over the years. I've been working with SSDs primarily using SSDs for the last 8 years or so. Well, I'm going to shift the camera and let you see what's involved on this particular system to make these changes. It'll vary from computer to computer. Some computers you're going to need to open the top, remove your keyboard, remove some screws in there, release some cables in there, then close it, turn it over, release some screws, then come back and release this bezel from the base. Then you'll have access to the internals, including your hard drive, your battery, your memory modules, your Wi-Fi card, and a variety of other things that you'll find inside. This particular one is simpler. It's closer to the older style where you remove one screw and then you've got a door that opens and you can get at your hard drive. Remove a different screw, you can get at your memory modules. This has one panel held by 3 screws. I'll shift the camera and I'll show that to you now. Okay, so this is the bottom of the Vostro 3550. I have obscured my service tag number and my Windows license so that there aren't any issues there. And what you need to do here is remove the Phillips head screws that are at these 3 locations. These are not normal Phillips head screws, they're fine, so you'll need a small Phillips screwdriver, and there are a variety of places you can get them. I don't need to explain that to you. Once you've removed those screws, then starting at this side, pry the door up, and the reason I say start at this side is there are some tabs on the bottom side of this that you can't release on this edge. So it's easier to, as far as I know, it's only possible to come around this edge, and then it'll pull out and come off. These are the tabs that I was talking about, and they slip in under, and so they're different than the rest of the tabs. In all of this work, be very careful so that you don't break your tabs. Now, as you can see, I do have a hard drive in it, SSD. This is the 850 EVO, 500 gigabytes, as you can read. I've already swapped that out. This will be my new data drive. The additional screw you need to remove is right here. That allows you to slide the optical drive out the end of the laptop. And so with just a little bit of push, I'm going to use a different screwdriver here. Use this one. Just a little bit of a push, slides out, and you're almost there. What you need to do at this point is remove this tab from the back of your optical drive and reinstall it on your new caddy. So maintain the orientation of your caddy so that you know what you're doing. What am I doing here? There we go. So if it's in this position, tab goes down on that side. There are several, tab goes down on this edge. Now, there are several holes on the back. I don't know if you can see them. It looks like maybe the light is preventing it. There's several holes on the back so that you can mount it in different positions in different laptops. But in my case, that's the hole that I need. So, rather than spend time going through those details, you can see what needs to be done, and you don't need to watch me running screws. I'll just make that swap, put it all back together, and then I'll be ready to deal with my operating system issues. And I'll come back to that in another video. Thanks for watching.